So he did it, right? To no one's surprise, he did in fact do it, right? And I usually don't make videos like this. I really don't, right? I usually keep it like more lighthearted and simple. But it's kind of just like tragic, really, because I know like a lot of people like kind of caught off guard, like, I listened to this artist, he's very cool and stuff, just to come out and find out he was kind of on the weird side, talking to little girls and stuff like that, right? And when he got charged and like arrested a few days ago, I already thought the case was like done like a few months ago because I didn't really keep track of it, right? But when it got like re-brought up, I was actually very happy because usually situations like this, especially with like people of like higher status, they kind of don't end well. Not end it well saying like they get to walk free, but usually it takes like years and years, and there's always just like a little slap on the wrist most of the times, right? Not because the system's always bad, which it kind of is bad sometimes, but just due to the fact that they could just keep tossing money and get like the best lawyers possible, and it's always hard to like have a really solid case. Luckily though, the prosecution said fuck all of that, and they got his ass locked up, which was great to see, right? And I know some more people was kind of like disappointed, like, this artist listened to turned out to be like a little weird on the weird side, doing weird stuff, which I know how it is. Like, you listen to somebody, you kind of like, I guess, idolize them, which I always say, like, you should not idolize any celebrity because at the end of the day, you don't know them and they don't know you. But I kind of do sit disappointment from fans like, y'all listen to this guy's music. I like this guy's personality and things like this. And this is what you're doing, right? So when the case was like first, like, I guess officially announced from like September when she went missing and was found in his car, I looked at it briefly, and as soon as I saw like he had some relations with the girl and she was just somehow found in his trunk, I just knew it was him, right? Because I had some people saying or seeing like, I don't think it was him, maybe she OD'd, these different things, but it was pretty clear cut it was him, right? And like I said, I didn't want to play devil advocate, like saying like he couldn't have did it, maybe someone else did it for him, but like just toss the whole murder plot aside, right? Like just forget about the murder and hiding the body. Just forget about all of that, right? He was still talking to an underage girl for years, right? Because like it's 2026, right? And I think the messages between them went back like a few years, 2023, 2022, right? And at the time last year, she was around like 14. So around then, she was like 11, 12. And I think he's like around my age, like so like 21, 22. So he'd be like 19 or so. So just excusing the whole like killing, he was still like low key a PDF, you know what I mean? So it's just like on top of you being a PDF, you commit like the worst act possible. So it's just like there's really no redeeming, right? I saw some people like on Reddit forums and Twitter saying like it was a different girl, different name, different age, right? Which didn't make sense to me because it was pretty clear cut, and the fact that he was in her car, like I don't know, people were trying to defend it. It just wasn't going nowhere, right? So the fact that now it's officially just resolved is great. I think they was talking about like trying to get a death penalty, which I approve of. I think most people would, but will they actually go that far? Probably not. I think the murder, like death penalty, is more like taboo, especially like in the 21st century, especially in modern times. If they do, hey, if not, I think life in prison is still fine. Also saw some people saying like the family knew about it, some of his friends and things like that. I don't know. I find it weird, like, if they didn't know, but, like, I don't really know the full story. It's usually not black and white. I saw some people saying, like, their family knew, his friends knew, they just let it slide. If that's the case, then they could be locked up with him, not gonna lie. Like, they could definitely go to jail with him. And, like, I know her brother, like, was constantly contacting the police, trying to build a case against him too, and I think they actually did look into it because to my knowledge, the police were actually looking at him before she was eventually found in his car. Unfortunately, it just takes, like, prosecution and, like, cops to it just takes a while to actually go through the legal way of, like, getting evidence and stuff like that, which is unfortunate because some people are also like, "Why is this trial taking so long? It's been months," which I know it has been months, but things like this usually just take a while to make sure it's done the right way because, if they don't, he can unfortunately get free, which does happen sometimes where, like, they rush it and the person just gets to walk away free, like nothing happened, or like a little slap on the wrist, right? So I'm glad they actually took the time and got his ass locked up. Like I'm so happy for this, right? I saw some people trying to blame like Pokemon and like Jason, like the Twitch streamers, saying like they knew and things like that, which I highly doubt they did, right? Like they were just trying to make music videos, or it's just asking me in a video, probably paid them and stuff too, help boost their name. So it's like, as a content creator, as like an artist, why would you say no, right? And it's like really looking at his catalog too. He he has some like solid music. Like he's not a bad artist. And it's like usually singers or rappers, they kind of like talk about like a certain niche for like sometimes it's like love, sometimes it's heartbreak. Unfortunately, David decided his niche was going to be little girls, obsessing over little girls, and this is where we are now, unfortunately. And I usually don't make videos like this, but then I found out he had like some videos and like unreleased music talking about what he was going to do before and after. Like this was definitely planned, right? And someone else, his whole motive, which was he was going to basically, or she was going to like leak their whole situation, their relationship, which resulted in him doing what he did. So the fact that he also like had people participate in his music videos, like Loki, trying to act out his fantasies of what he was going to do or already did, he needs to be under the jail. Hopefully the family could rest. Like I said, some people are trying to blame the family. I don't know. I don't. It's not always black and white. So the situation's resolved though. Hopefully it didn't end as people wanted it to end for her family, but the fact that he did and is facing justice is ideal. So yeah, but I hope you enjoyed. Hopefully you guys have a good rest of your day. It is like very much on the nicer side outside. So, go be productive, go kick it with your family, your friends, and yeah, until next time. Peace.